Are Hey there guys, my name is Brandon from Gearist.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at the GOrun Ride 4 from Skechers. You know, when running shoes, or any product for that matter, becomes popular, a lot of what happens is that the products start to go through an evolution. Now sometimes it's a brand evolution, but most of the time it's a material and design evolution. And much of the time there are missteps along the way that kind of, they'll integrate a feature which kind of winds up not being received so well, it just doesn't work the way they intended. Whatever the case, with Skechers Performance, I've really yet to see them make a true misstep. Sure, at their beginning or their inception, the Skechers Performance line, there were a couple of marketing things where they had some ads with people that were landing on the forefoot, but way overstriding, which you can see here. Since then, they've gotten this stuff together and have used people with great running form, like Meb and things like that, people that are their star athletes, Kara Goucher, if you will, and their product evolution has continued to be something that is really, really impressive, with really no missteps that I've been able to see. Now, knowing that, I was really excited to get my feet into the Skechers GOrun Ride 4. The GOrun Ride 3 had some really great qualities, but it was a little cushy, a little bit overbuilt for my taste. And knowing how well the evolution of the GOrun 4, this guy right here, and if you click on it, you can check out that review. Knowing how well that evolution went, I was definitely pumped to see exactly how well they had integrated these changes into the GOrun Ride 4. As always, we're first going to start with the outsole, and in the GOrun Ride 4, Skechers took the approach of stick with what works. As you can see here, there's basically no difference in design from the GOrun Ride 4 to the GOrun Ride 3 that's right beside it. As with its predecessor, the GOrun Ride 4 continues to sport 10 Go Impulse sensors. Those are these little circles that you can see here, as well as a little bit of rubber right up here. Now those Go Impulse sensors are a much more durable rubber than the rest of the Resilite outsole. We'll talk about that in a second. Now Skechers claims that these have been repositioned. I really didn't notice much of that myself, but that's a good thing. Again, stick with what works. These are all placed in high friction areas, in areas that you really want to make sure that the foot is making contact with the ground and really making use of that part of the gait cycle. The remainder of the outsole is that compound between rubber and EVA, that Resilite material that we really like so much, that is proprietary to Skechers. Now you would think, as I thought with the first version of this shoe and with this first version of GOrun, that this would call durability into question a little bit, and to be very honest, with about 40 miles in this shoe, there ain't a whole lot of wear going on. As you can see, there's maybe a little bit of kind of wear right through there, right under the metatarsals, but not really. That Resilite is really quite durable, which is what makes it such a remarkable material. One of the most noticeable changes, which you can see right here, is the reduction in the amount of heel rocker on this shoe. Now, for a lot of people, including myself, when I saw the original GOrun Ride 3, I was kind of taken aback at exactly how much rocker there was. It's quite scooped up in the back. It didn't affect the ride except for to make it more smooth, but I can see where it's definitely kind of a little bit of a detractor for some people that are shopping strictly based on visual appearance. Regardless of the reduction in rear foot rocker, the transition from heel to forefoot still is very, very whip quick and very smooth. One of the other most conspicuous changes to this shoe is that they have made the Resilite foam more firm. Now don't be afraid that the cushion from the preceding versions of this shoe has gone away, because it has not. This just uses a more firm foam, and it's actually going to really enhance the way that your body uses its own biomechanical cushioning, which I found really nice, and it actually brings it a lot closer in that pep and responsiveness to the GOrun 4. Now if you're a spec head like me, the stack heights in this shoe are 23 millimeters of stack in the heel and 19 millimeters in the forefoot for a net drop of 4 millimeters. Moving into the upper of the GOrun Ride 4 is definitely one of the places where some of the more significant changes have taken place. The first thing that you're going to notice is that the mesh is thinner on this shoe, where it was kind of a dual layer setup in certain instances on the GOrun Ride 3. In this version, it is straight up single layer, although it does have a sleek backing, so it's kind of like a bonded two layer actually. It's definitely a very breathable mesh. I had no problems with heat whatsoever, though the finer inside layer definitely kept out a lot of that debris that you might feel. And speaking of the interior, they don't go for seamless in this shoe. Now, some of the time people try to kind of shoehorn, so to speak, a seamless interior onto a shoe and wind up with problems in other places, but Skechers hasn't really done that. What they've done is they have very smooth seams on the interior, and it keeps it very comfortable even on a bare foot, though, to be fair, I only did really one kind of short barefoot run in this guy. Probably the biggest move away from the upper of the GOrun Ride 3 is the amount of stitching that is on this upper. Now, the GOrun Ride 3 had an upper that was almost entirely made with stitched on overlays, but in this case, there are actually very few, only a couple. There's one right here, the toe bumper, a little bit here leading up into the lacing, and then kind of right around the vamp here. This area is called the vamp. You would think that those are for durability, and that's fine because they don't really have a negative effect on the inside of the shoe. Are they a little weightier? Sure. You're going to put a piece of kind of leather here. It's going to weigh a little bit more, but it's also going to offer a little bit more in the way of toe protection. Beyond that, all the overlays in the shoe are now welded and bonded overlays, which you can see right here. Very, very slick. It makes for a really good look. It keeps down the bulk of the shoe and actually creates a little bit of weight loss. Another thing which was significant to me, but probably not to some, is the amount of foam that is now included around the collar and in the tongue. There's quite a lot gone in this one, at least in terms of bulk. And to be honest, it's a foam that's a little more dense around the collar and in the tongue, especially around the collar, which you're going to be able to feel is not too much, not too little bit, just right. And they've really done a good job of having that kind of middle ground between a low volume foam in terms of depth, but it's still nice and cushy in terms of density. Put it on, you'll see what I mean. Now for some, one of the things that's going to be most conspicuously missing is that lockdown eyelet hole that usually appears right there, and actually appears on the GOrun 4 right there. Now, interestingly, I don't really use that, but a lot of people do, and I'm not sure why they got rid of it in this shoe, because it seems to me, especially since there was this video going around the internet lately, I thought it was pretty common knowledge, but it's been going around Facebook and such that was showing exactly what that eyelet hole was for. You can see a clip of that right here, showing you exactly how to use the tie-down method or lockdown method to keep the heel in place. For me, again, I didn't use it, but I think some people might miss it, and I think that it was maybe a little bit of a misstep to remove that from the shoe. Another change to the upper is the amount of mesh that is right over in the vamp area, this area right here. Now, for me, I really like it. It gives a ton of 4-foot toe box room for splay. We're going to talk about that a bit more in the fit section, but I did notice a little bit of fabric folding, which you can see kind of right in there. It didn't affect me on the interior of the shoe negatively at all. I did not notice it. It just required a little bit more cinching down to kind of get this to lock onto my foot the way that I might want it to. The last thing that I'll mention about the upper of the GOrun Ride 4 is the quick fit system that we can see right there. Now, the first place we talked about this, again, was in our GOrun 4 review. Now, I was interested to see this because, you know, I don't really use the heel pulls on a lot of shoes. I find that it's kind of something that, I don't know, it's just interesting. It takes more time for me to get my finger there, and then I just as soon slip my finger in the back of the shoe. In this case, it's very, very interesting because I found myself actually using this. Now, this is kind of an inverted trapezoid thing back here, and I gotta say, it's a really cool feature, and added bonus, there's a little bit of weight savings with it. Now, let's talk about the fit of the shoe. First of all, I gotta say that it fit me in my size 11 feet spot on. I did not have any issues. Don't worry about going up or down, I don't think. Now, you might have to play around with it if you've got a particularly low or high volume foot, in other words, a narrow or wide foot, to depend on kind of finding exactly where your foot's gonna fall into this guy. Now, from the back of the shoe, the heel fits really, really nice. Again, some of this material, some of this foam that you see here, the shoe, their heel rather, actually sits down about here, where this little material is extra, which makes for a really nicely formed heel cup. Moving into the midfoot right here in this guy, I think there's a lot of room for some wider feet in this, which is going to be really nice for a lot of people. Now, one of the interesting things is that that goes down as we move into the midfoot, into the forefoot here. That's one of those things where there's maybe a little bit much in the way of fabric. Now, I think that a possible solution to this could be possibly making this material here and maybe up into here a little bit stretchy, so you can still accommodate wider feet, but you're not going to have some of this fabric buckling here. Again, not a big deal. I feel the fit overall is really nice and gives a ton of room for toe splay and movement. Let's talk about the ride of the shoe, which is actually really difficult to do without mentioning the weight that I talked about a second ago. Coming in at 8.3 ounces, that's a really impressive weight for a shoe that some might consider to be the larger cousin of the GOrun 4. That is, of course, without the additional sock liner. The sock liner on this guy is stitched in, in, so you're not really going to have a ton of additional weight by way of that, but you can add an additional sock liner, which would add maybe a couple ounces of weight and would also add a little bit more cushioning on the inside. From a performance perspective, this guy has really great ground feel. I really felt like it wasn't dead at all, and I chalk a lot of that up to that firmer Resolite foam material, Resolite compound that they use in the midsole outsole of this shoe. And again, as I mentioned, that firmer Resolite is going to contribute to a peppier ride, more akin to the GOrun 4. Now, if this review and all the other reviews out there aren't enough to make you go try to buy one of these or get your hands or get your foot in it for the first time because you're going, oh, but they're Skechers. Listen, one of the biggest things you got to realize about these shoes is that price tag. This comes in at a very affordable $85. That is $85, and I would bet you that if you check out the buy links down below in the description of this video, you could probably find it for cheaper than that. This is a solid shoe that's going to be a good high mileage trainer. It's going to be a good racer. You can wear this in a marathon. I would bet you could easily wear it in an ultra marathon. And one of the great things, because it's got a little more pep but still carries over that cushioning, is that you're going to be able to throw some speed at it. If you want to go out and do an interval workout or a tempo run or some fartleks or something, you're going to be completely safe and comfortable doing that. As we've said before, Skechers Performance shoes are legit. Again, if you're just saying, oh, but they're Skechers and you're thinking of them as a Kim Kardashian shoe or something like that, you need to change your tune. You need to get yourself into a pair of Skechers, because I promise you, you're going to be very, very impressed. Will they be your go-to shoe? Maybe, but maybe not. It's okay. I still think that you're going to have to go back on that but they're Skechers thing. Look, we're not going to say but they're Skechers anymore here at Gearist. These are Skechers Performance running shoes, and they're legit. Now guys, our question for you today is, have you tried Skechers yet? And if so, what do you think of the evolutions that they're going through? Leave your comments or questions in the comments section down below. While you're at it, don't forget to like and favorite this video, show us some love, and share it with your friends. We would love it if you would share this video or any of our videos with 2 friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to share it. We would really appreciate you guys sharing, so thank you so much. Thanks so much for joining us for a few minutes today, guys. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to email info@gearist.com or reach out to us on any of our social media networks, which you can see right over here, including Strava, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Pinterest isn't up there. Always subscribe to the YouTube channel, that YouTube button you see right there, right here. This guy, definitely click on that. That will subscribe you to our channel right away. And as always, please don't forget to visit Gearist.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.